Following the president's address at 10:30 tonight, Eastern Time. Fred, any late reports there on the ground action?
Tom, we are picking up bits and pieces about ground fighting. One of the battles that we expected to be fought, in fact, we expected it to be fought 2 days ago prior to an invasion, was the battle for Faleka Island, which is the entrance to Kuwait City. Now, I have a map here to give you a distinction of where Faleka is. It's a 20-mile long island, and it's right here, and it controls the access to Kuwait City and to the Kuwait Bay. Well, for several days now, U.S. aircraft have been dropping large, what we call daisy cutter bombs on this island because there were alleged to be 500 to 800 Iraqi soldiers with heavy artillery on this island. And we are told now that the Marines have now taken this island prior to the invasion, and one sketchy report we got, but we believe it to be accurate. We picked it up in radio intercepts as the Marines coming ashore on this island reported seeing a great many bodies already there. So one of the early battles of the war for Faleka Island, and we didn't expect it to last very long, and apparently it has not, Tom.
Fred Francis, in that Pentagon briefing, do you think that we'll get many details, or do they think, based on the earlier reports that you were getting there, they'll say the land war is underway and they'll give you a general description of it and then say, and you won't be getting much information because it will have to come from the battlefield itself, and there will be some delay? Yeah,
that's what I expect, Tom. Pentagon officials have told us for days that there was going to be very little information coming out, and we as journalists who've covered wars understand that on a ground campaign such as this, the most they will be able to tell us is that where prisoners have been taken and that sort of thing, but not where the large concentrations of American troops are. There are 4 to 5 divisions way out west. There are 4 to 5 divisions on the front. We do not know what they will do, but we expect in the next 24 to 48 hours to get a lot more information. In fact, get reports from the front with American reporters. But at this briefing, I expect very few details except perhaps some early casualties and some early prisoner numbers. But remember, Tom, it's the fog of war, and the first reports are almost always wrong, so they're going to be very cautious here. Yeah, and Tom, Tom, let me just make one other point here. This is not just a full American effort. I will tell you that there are Saudi, Kuwaiti, and Arab forces, Egyptians and Syrians on the front line, and we were told over the last several days by Pentagon officials that these Arab forces, led by the Saudis and the Kuwaitis, would be the first in, would be the first across the line, and they wanted it that way. They wanted it that way because they were the first endangered, and we are told that those Arab forces, led by the Saudis and the Kuwaitis, will also be the first into Kuwait City when it comes to that. Tom?
Fred, now that the land war is underway, we can talk a little bit about what we have picked up in the last 2 or 3 days or so. And it was, I think, Thursday that we began to get some indications from our own people who were up front that, in fact, February 24th, and that's the day that we're on now, would be, in fact, the day of the invasion. So they've had this one in mind for some time. I gather they just wanted to play out the final possible diplomatic card, but for several days now, it looked as if they had this invasion date in mind.
There are a couple of reasons for that, Tom. We are told here by administration officials as well as Pentagon officials they had to let Gorbachev play out this hand, even though they knew that when the United States finally gave its list and said these are the ways you can withdraw, that it would be unacceptable to Baghdad, that it had to be played out. And I can also tell you, Tom, that the 24th was a very rich day indeed for an invasion, because tomorrow is Kuwaiti National Day, the 25th of February. And in the Middle East, as you well know, there's a great deal of symbolism, and that's one of the greatest. Tom?
Thank you, Fred Francis, at the Pentagon. Earlier today, there was that tantalizing hit from the United Nations that Iraq indeed was ready to accept some of the United States UN resolutions, and it was John Dancy who was able to piece together the fact that it was probably just an informal chat between Mikhail Gorbachev and Tariq Aziz as Aziz was leaving Moscow.